Hello, how you doing? My name is Waldo, and I am here to feel the politics with you. I appreciate anybody who's here. Toss any links or ideas or stories that you like into chat. I'm way late today. Usually I start at about 10 a.m., but today I had some family in town and they wanted to do things. It was terrible. It was gross. I hated it. It was awful, and I couldn't get around it. So once they have departed a little bit and gone off to do their own thing, then I have more time to stream. So, apologize to KVP, who looks like he was here earlier this morning, probably at the normal 10 a.m. start time, but he was not. He was here gambling in chat, but I was not here. Very bad news, very terrible. I'm an awful, awful person for doing that to him, and I severely apologize. But that's the way it goes. The IRL gets in the way of the streaming schedule sometimes. That's too bad. Um, But uh, hop into chat, say hello, throw your links into chat if you want me to look at a story or talk about a thing. Shoot any political hot takes you have into chat, and I'll take a look at it, and we'll feel all of the politics together. Because that's what it is. That's what politics is. Feeling. A lot of feels. All the feels. All the time. Nonstop. So let's get started with the politics headlines. Pop over here. Do the window capture, click on the button, and look at this. Oh no! Oh God, no! No! You were supposed to be the chosen one. What have we got? Oh God, what's happened? Okay. Pence quits the presidential race after struggling to gain traction. This is not my time, he says. Yeah, I know. Mike, your time was the 1950s. Those are gone. Those are over. It is not the 1950s anymore. Your time is over. Not your time, Mike. That's correct. I think he accidentally really, really, really gets it. It is not my time. Uh, it's become clear to me that this is not my time. After so much prayer and deliberation, of course, it's attached to prayer. I have decided to suspend my campaign for president effective today. We always knew this would be an uphill battle, and I have no regrets. Yeah. Well, your chief competitor like wanted you to be hanged, so that's cool. I got the baby bark boys today, and they might be making noise. So if you hear the doggies barking in the back, that's what I'm looking at. That's what I'm paying attention to, and I might have to run over to grab them if they start acting crazy. Or maybe if they come over here, I'll put them up on screen as well. So Pence down, Pence down. I urge all my fellow Republicans here, give our country a Republican standard bearer that will, as Lincoln said, appeal to the better angels of our nature, and not only lead us to victory, but lead our nation with civility. Good fucking luck, boss. Civility abandoned the Republican Party a long time ago. You only get angry, grumpy Trumpites from now on, or what's the word? Grifters like Vivek. That's the only thing that Republicans are going to bring us forever is Marjorie Taylor Greens, who are just bitchy, pissy, and uh, conspiracy brained with no plans for governing, no ideas in their head except hating on the left. And the other side, the other thing the Republicans are going to bring us is Vivek, the fake. Just using his ill-gotten tech bro money to run, hopefully, get a few laws passed or a few regulations slashed so that he and his tech bro friends can continue to make more money. That is the only two things that the Republicans will be bringing us for a very long time. So lead our nation with civility, not even a possibility, Mike, not even a chance of that happening. Oh, you hear that bark boy? Let's go find the bark boy. See what he's whining about. Where is that bark baby? He's just griping at his toys. Come here. There's nothing here for you to complain about. Come here, dog. All right, there he is. Okay. Let's go say hello to the internet. Yeah? Oh, we got a bark baby. Here he is. Bobo the bark baby. He barks, and he is a baby. Kind of like an Ewok. God, he smells. God, you stink. Bobo the bark baby. You smell bad. Yes, you do. You stink. All right. Now, go make noise and interrupt the stream. That's what he's going to do. The bark boys are here. And I'm all alone with them right now. I think there's a terrorist in the house, but that's it. Nobody's here to take care of the bark babies. So it might be me. Let's see, what else is in the news? We've got New York Republicans offer motion to expel George Santos from Congress. Thank God, finally. He's only the worst person ever. Surpassed only maybe by Donald Trump. His fellow New York Republicans in Congress have seen enough. They want him gone. A group of GOP lawmakers from the state started the clock on a vote to expel Santos from Congress on Thursday, after 10 months of Santos' notorious lies reflecting poorly on the New York Republicans writ large. 23 counts of federal charges that include conspiracy, wire and credit card fraud, false statements and records, as well as aggravated identity theft. How do you aggravated identity theft? Does that mean you harmed them? Like I punched you and then stole your identity? Doesn't aggravated usually mean like there was some violence involved? I don't know. Like robbery is one thing, but aggravated robbery I think means that you used a weapon or you violently hit someone to do the robbery. So aggravated identity theft might be I hit you with a crowbar and then stole your identity. That's wild. The resolution starts a clock for a floor expulsion vote next week, which will require 2/3 of the House to be adopted. Jacinto, you think it's going to be all symbolic? Fuck all will happen? Maybe. Um, I don't think that. Yeah, I think you might be right. Losing a vote would be a huge deal to the very slim majority that the Republicans have right now. But at the same time, um, they just got their speaker in place. Hopefully, they were waiting for that to happen before they could do this part. Hopefully, maybe, if we're lucky. And it, this guy should be out, even if he's not completely out. Like even suggesting that he could get thrown out might make him act better. I don't think so, but it also makes them look bad, and then he won't get reelected next time because everybody will remember this. Booting Santos could also boost the electoral prospects of vulnerable New York Republicans who are seeking to distance themselves from Santos' sideshow. Yeah, the rest of the New York Republicans don't want to hang out with him or be compared to him or see him or run against him. Santos does not plan to resign. Of course he doesn't. Grifter's gonna grift, and you can't grift if you're not in the limelight, you know? Santos did tweet a cryptic message early Thursday morning, seeming in response to the expulsion. Everything has an end in life. That's it. I can't do a gay voice very good, but everything has an end in life. Somebody put him on suicide watch. Like this is his note. Somebody put him on watch. All right. So Santos is probably out. I hope he is, and even if he isn't, I hope he goes away. But he won't because he's just going to keep. If he sticks around, he's just going to keep doing the grift. If he gets to stick around, he will just keep being crazy. He'll just keep being wild. He'll just keep being weird. He'll just keep doing all the things that get him attention and get him in the news and stuff like that. And that'll be his game. That'll be his grift. Get in the news, have people talk about you, make some money somehow. I'm not entirely sure. There's a bunch of question marks there on that third one, but the fourth step is profit. So step one, lie a lot to get elected. Step two, lie a lot when people call you on your lies. Step three, question mark. Step four, profit. Oh, what is this one? The left revolts over Biden's staunch support of Israel amid Gaza crisis. The president has lost favor with young Muslim Arab Americans' important Democratic constituencies. Are they important Democratic constituencies? I mean, it's not just Muslim and Arab people who are upset with him. Like, I'm upset with him. Not violently upset, but a little bit. Like, you could have done better in this thing, Joe. Oh, I don't think I can read this because I refuse to register for things. On Wednesday afternoon, hundreds of liberal Jewish American activists staged sit-in at Capitol Hill offices and top Democrats, including the Senate office and progressive champion Bernie Sanders, to demand a ceasefire in the escalating war between Israel and Hamas. Yeah, that would be fine with me. I know that it's complicated and both sides are bad and wrong for different reasons. And it would be nice if we weren't helping one side be bad and wrong. But that's probably the best we could ever hope for, is that Joe Biden barely helps one side be bad and wrong. It's pretty much the best you can hope for in this situation because it is incredibly complicated. Uh, there is no right answer. There is no solution. Even the best case solution is not good. Like a two-state solution would be still difficult, painful, and politically, maybe even politically impossible, you know? So there's not a answer. There's not a plan. There's no good thing here. Maybe 100 years from now, it'll be less miserable if we get a two-state solution. But up until that point, it's just going to be bad. It's going to be ugly. It's going to be painful, and everybody's going to hate everybody. Everybody hate everybody. That's where we currently are. Doesn't seem like there's a great solution. I have one stupid solution, but I don't think it's going to work. And then I've mentioned that before, but it's a dating app for um, willing Muslim men to date Jewish women and Jewish men to date Muslim women. And then maybe if you get enough people on that dating app, they all have kids, and then who would the kids fight? Nobody. Uh, they'd be on both sides, of this two-state solution, and then we could all come together and make love, not war, right? Uh, that's my stupid plan, but it doesn't seem very likely. And then you could couple that with not being religious anymore. We could try that. I think that would do us a lot of good. Um, if there were fewer religious people over there. Okay, what else is on the list here? Let's go over here and look at this one. Final Army base stripped of Confederate name as Fort Gordon becomes Fort Eisenhower. See, this is good. Thomas and I argued about this the other day, or the other day, a year ago, and that's cool. I think this is fine. This is a good thing to do. Don't name your bases after the Civil War generals who fought against America. The names of Confederate leaders who took up arms against the United States in the Civil War have been fully stripped from the Army installations, as the former Fort Gordon in Georgia was renamed Fort Eisenhower on Friday. Gordon, I don't know the details of him specifically, but if he was a Confederate general, then he took up arms and fought against the United States. Yeah, let's not name United States bases after him. Let's do something else. Let's pick somebody else. Are there no other Americans that you can name a thing after? And I think conservatives in the past have suggested that This doesn't solve the Army's recruiting problem, and I agree. This doesn't solve the Army's and the military's recruiting problems, but it makes one thing slightly better. Yes, it also didn't cure cancer or get us Half-Life 3. Does that mean we shouldn't do it? It's a good thing, but it doesn't cure cancer or get us Half-Life 3. So don't be excited about it. No, no, no. It's not how that works. But the system works. Hey, this is a small thing that's bad. Make it slightly better. Make it slightly better. Make it slightly better. Make it slightly better. And then eventually, years from now, everything will be better. Maybe. So, um, does this renaming solve all the problems that the military has? No. Is it a positive step? Yes. And this is society is like a program of like 1,000 little steps that make things a little bit better each time. Each time, one little thing, one little thing, one little thing, one little thing, one little thing. And as soon as you have all these little things together, society's better. So I'm on board for this. This is fine. This is a good idea. And if this insults your Southern heritage, if you are a big fan of, where's he at? Where's Gordon? I don't know his name. Shit. I was going to do a whole thing. I thought maybe they would tell us the history of Colonel Gordon here. If you're a big fan of uh, Confederate General Gordon and this upsets your Southern pride, well, get over it. Move on. He lost. Why would you want to name your forts after loser generals? I don't know. What else we got? We've got voter disenfranchisement. Who would have imagined? Ohio Secretary of State LaRosa quietly removes more than 26,000 Ohioans from voter rolls. Oh yeah, you're right, Shinsinto. That statue did get melted down recently, and that's good. That's fine. Those statues weren't about the Civil War. They were about scaring black people away from your town. Those statues were put up of Confederate generals, not because we loved the Civil War and it was our heritage and we need to remember our past. No, it was about scaring black people away from your white town. That's why they were put up, that's why they were built, and that's why they were there. So that a random black person will walk through there and see a Civil War general statue and know they don't belong here. That is what those statues were for, and that's why they needed to be taken down. And I'm glad the damn thing got melted. Good. Get rid of it. Yeah, they won't listen to that. They have been, and it's about history. No, then put it in a fucking museum. If it's about history, teach it in a class, put it in a museum where it belongs, not right in the middle of town where everybody can see it. Those, the people in those statues are disrespectful and they're a blight on our country. They are the bad part of our history. We don't, I mean, could you imagine Germany having a statue of Adolf Hitler? Well, that would be a terrible idea. But it's part of our history. No, well, no. He was part of history. A bad part. A part we don't like. A part we need to abandon and get better. A part that we need to look at, recognize it was bad, and then move past. Yeah, they were put up in the 60s. Yeah, that's right. During the Civil Rights Movement because they wanted to scare black people away from their white towns. Sorry, there's a bark baby under my feet, so this is what I'm doing today. I'm streaming the news and kicking puppies. So let's see. Ohio Secretary of State LaRosa quietly removes more than 26,000 Ohioans from voter rolls. Just 6 days after Ohio voters began receiving ballots for the upcoming November election, after receiving the ballots. That sounds like horseshit. On September 22nd, ballots were sent to overseas citizens and military members to begin voting on the November 7th general election. And on September 28th, LaRosa ordered the cancellation despite instructing county boards to pause registration cancellations ahead of the previous election in August. These motherfuckers want it to be confusing and difficult. Because if it's confusing and difficult, people won't do it. And if people don't do it, or they get in trouble for doing it, then less voting happens. I don't know how we claim to be a democratic country, but then we make voting a fucking three-ring circus. The cancellations were a result of voter inactivity. Each cancellation involved a voter who did not vote or respond to notices from election officials over a 6-year time frame. The move has sparked pushback as concerns from Democrats who question the timing of the decision. Yep, LaRose, who was a vocal leader of a failed August ballot measure that would have required future conditional amendments to receive 60% support, ordered county boards to not remove voters from the rolls in June ahead of the election. This is that shit. So here's what was. Ballot measure would have required future conditional amendments to receive 60% support. So it used to be 51% of the voters could vote for a thing and get it done, but then Republicans fell below that percentage, and so Democrats got above 51, and so they're like, well, it shouldn't be 51 anymore; it should be 60. It's like walking into a damn store and saying, "Hey, this is $10. Okay, here's $10." They're like, "No, now it's 12." What? What? It used to be 51% required, but then Democrats got to 51%, and they said, "No, no, 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 now you need 60." It's horseshit, and it is LaRose here playing fucky games with voting because they can. Nobody stops them. Yeah, issue one, constitutional amendment that would enshrine reproductive freedom. Because again, obviously, over 51% of the people said yes to abortion, and they were like, "Ugh, no, ugh, better raise that number to 60." And then they had to vote on whether or not 60% should be the thing, and the people voted no. Ohio State Rep. Rose Sweeney sent a letter to LaRose probing the cancellation and alleging that LaRose's removals are being rushed. Now that our reproductive rights and our very lives are on the November ballot, she further asked LaRose to clarify questions regarding the purge. Neither he nor his office announced the cancellations, despite doing so in the past. Instead, the state's database was quietly updated. Yeah, he's doing this shit secretly. Republicans and Republican positions are not popular. And rather than change their positions to match the population, they will choose their voters. They will gerrymander so that they get exactly the voters they want. They will purge people from the rolls so that they're not allowed to vote. They will change the voting rules so that poor people can't vote and that they don't get the time off. They will close down polling stations in poorer neighborhoods. They will set up crazy cockamamie ass rules like in Texas where each town is allowed one mail-in voting collection box. So the town with 2,000 people has one box, but the town like Houston that has 4 million people gets one box. And they call that fair because they are crooked. They are liars who are not popular and need to be popular. Um, Get out of here, terrorist. Get out of here. Get out of here, evil terrorist. Nobody wants you. I said nobody wants you here. Go away, evil terrorist. Get out of here. He's like Wario, you know. He just kind of shows up and acts weird, and everybody's like, "What? Come make some Wario noises. Make some Wario noises." What?
He likes garlic. That's what he does.
Wario likes garlic. Okay.
Mario likes garlic. Look it up.
Okay. All right. All right. All right. All right. He likes
Instructions.
garlic.
Mario has his mushrooms, and
Mm-hmm.
Mario has his garlic.
Okay. All right. Gone.
I assume he eats the garlic like an apple.
Okay.
Bites into it.
Okay. Anyway, was on a nice ramble. So yeah, rather than doing the thing that the people want, they will simply find the people who want what they want and make that their position. You know. Hi, Askadaxa. Axadaxa. Welcome in. Come on in. Uh, Here's chat. It's very fun. Uh, Shoot any p- political links you want into chat, and we'll take a look at them. Any ideas you have? Specifically, myself, I am very much a leftist. Uh, I During the primaries, I vote for the person who's the furthest to the left. Usually, that's Bernie or somebody along those lines. And then during the general, I vote for the person that's furthest to the left. As you can see, Shinsento here is playing the slots. He's addicted to gambling. But every time you chat in chat, you get 5 points, and then you can play silly little games. And someday, maybe, uh, I'll connect something important to the points, but not really. Maybe not. They're all made up and don't really matter. So, ask you if you have any questions or any ideas or anything like that. Shoot them into chat. I'll take a look. And if you have any links, link them there as well. So we're finished with this story. Let's move on to the next one. Let's see. What do we got? We got White House rips new GOP speaker's offensive mass shooting comment. I don't know what the comment was. What did the new speaker say that's making people mad? Let's find out what he said. What did he said? The White House rebuked comments Johnson made to Fox News host Sean Hannity on Thursday night. Uh, a day after 18 people were killed in two mass shootings in Maine, Johnson said that guns are not the cause of America's unique mass shooting crises. Saying that it was not the time to talk about gun control, he told Hannity the problem is the human heart, not the guns. It's not the weapons. At the end of the day, we have to protect the right of the citizens to protect themselves, and that's the Second Amendment. And that's why our party stands so strongly for that. We absolutely reject the offensive accusations that gun crime is uniquely high in the United States because of Americans' hearts, he said. Gun crime is uniquely high in the United States because congressional Republicans have spent decades choosing the gun industry lobbyists over the lives of innocent Americans. So this is Andrew Bates saying that. White House Deputy Secretary Andrew Bates said that. Um, so I think this is a weird statement. It's always not the time to talk about it, which is a weird thing that the Republicans always do. Now is not the time. Right after the murders, it's not the time to talk about it. In between murders, it's not the time to talk about it. Before the next murder is not the time to talk about it. There's never a time to talk about it. I would love for uh, the new speaker here, what was his name, Johnson, Mr. Johnson here, to tell me when is the time to talk about it. If he thinks that there's never a time, then why mention not the time? Uh, it's not the guns, it's not the weapons. At the end of the day, we have to protect the rights of the citizens to protect themselves, and that's the Second Amendment. Um, yeah, Shinsento, they're sending thoughts and prayers. And that will probably be about it. Um, the the gun debate goes back and forth. I've talked to conservative people about it before. Um, I think there absolutely should be 100% licensing for the things. If you want a license, if you want a gun, you have to get a license, and part of that license should be a mental health check. I don't mind that at all. This guy in Maine apparently has had many mental health issues and hears voices and has been to psychiatrists and has lots of monstrous problems with his brain. Yet he is still allowed to buy guns. I don't know the details of this specific case. I haven't looked at it all that much. Army reservist accused of using an assault rifle to kill 18 people. Um, Card had suffered acute mental health issues in recent months. That's not good. I don't know why people with acute mental health issues are still allowed to own, operate, and or obtain these things. It's a bad idea. If mental health is the problem, why do we let people with mental health problems have guns? If people are the problem, why do we let people have guns? Uh, let's see. What else is in the news today? The bill is dead. Private school vouchers face roadblock in Texas House with days left in the session. So, Governor Greg Abbott and other supporters of private school vouchers are struggling to make headway in the Texas House, where many lawmakers remain skeptical of a program that would give tax dollars to private and homeschool students. I want this to fail. I want this to fail. Yeah, I know Shinseto, I know you're excited about this one. Um, Private school vouchers are taking tax money and giving it to private corporations. That's a dumb idea. And the private corporation then gets to teach the children what they want in any way they want, uh, without having any sort of regulation put on them. And generally, it leads to uh, religious indoctrination, sure, but it also leads to a two-tiered uh, society: the people who have the money to go to these private schools and the people who don't. And in very typical Republican type way, in Republican fashion, the people who are in those private schools will learn different things. They will simply hear and learn a different version of facts, a different version of history than the people in the public school. And then they'll go to college, and if the colleges aren't uh, under the who was Ron DeSantis's thumb, then they will teach actual history, and it will be shockingly different from the things that the kids learned in high school. It's a very weird situation. I mean, I talk about it all the time, but Republican parents complain that their kids went to a liberal college and came back a completely different person. Oh, my kids went to that liberal college and now they're spouting communisms. Well, yes, because that's what's real. That you did not teach them the things. If there is a conservative parent who's upset that their child went to college and changed, it's because you didn't prepare them, you didn't teach them, you didn't understand what the real world is. A lot of these, I'm worried that a lot of these private schools, home schools definitely do, and a lot of religious private schools are preparing their students to walk out into the world of the 1950s. It's a bad plan. If you personally want to raise your child to uh, farm horses and live without electricity and live without modern phones and not use buttons like the Amish, you're allowed to do that. I'm okay with you being Amish. I think it's a dumb idea, but you're allowed to raise your kids Amish. You're allowed to. And I'm okay with that. But what you're not allowed to do is force that on everybody else in the society. You're not allowed to force Amish values on everyone else. And this isn't as extreme as that within the uh, private schooling, but it is a step towards that type of thing. So uh, if someone wants their kid to go to this private school and learn about the Bible and learn that they ought to uh, and learn the world that the 1950s is as truth and reality, and then they want to come out and go right into a factory job, it's a bad plan. You're allowed to do that with your own kids, but I don't want you to push that on everybody else's kids. Which is why public school is a good idea. Public school is a great leveler. If everybody goes to the public school, everybody learns the same things, everybody knows what's going on at the same time, and everybody will be taught the same at the same high level, hopefully high level. Uh, and if we're all taught at the same high level, maybe then it's an equaling force. Like you didn't get special treatment and extra learning or anything along those lines because everybody had the same opportunities. So you're saying the world doesn't revolve around me, Shinseto? No. It doesn't revolve around your child. Um, sorry. Sorry, Republicans, the world doesn't revolve around the what you think the world ought to be. And that's the issue that I run into with the Republicans is that they say, "Oh, well, we have the right to raise our children." Yeah, great, you do, but you don't have the right to tell the entire country that they ought to follow exactly the way you want to raise your kids. And that leads them to scream that you're taking their rights away. Parental rights. Arrgh. Um, because if if their kids found out a gay person existed, it would put an idea into their head that the parents don't want there. They don't want that idea there. And that is what it is. This plan right here for all these private schools is mind control of their children. I know that it's mind control of our children. I know that public school is mind control of our children. I know it is. I'm willing to look you in the eye. Okay, here's what we'll do. I'm looking you right in the eye. All schools are indoctrination. All of them, including the public schools, which teach you things that are real. Private schools are also indoctrination that teach you things that aren't real. And one of those indoctrinations is better than the other. That's all there is to it. Yes, left-wing ideology is indoctrination, but it's based on reality and it is better than right-wing indoctrination, which is based on fairy tales. It's the idea that the parents have lied to them about the outside world. Correct, Ishinzeto. Their parents are lying to them about the future, about the world, about what's coming in what's going to be there when you leave high school. They're lying to them about what's outside. They're lying to them about the rules, the laws, and the society that they're going to go into. And the Republicans want that reality, they want that fictional fairy tale that they have inside their heads to come true. And the best way to do that is to convince all the children that it's true. And then when they go out into the world, they will maybe make it true, or they'll also believe the same fairy tale that you do. So maybe it'll be more real. There's a the Sandman comic back in the 80s, like had a whole thing about this. Cats ruled the world. The entire planet was covered with giant cats, and humans were their playthings. But the humans dreamed and pretended and imagined that they were in charge for such a long time, and they imagined that they were the leaders of the world. And then one human convinced all of the other humans to dream about it, and then that made it real. That's a lovely, very fun, very poetic uh, fantasy. That is a fun, poetic thing, but it doesn't work in the real world. Doesn't fit. Doesn't work. We can't all dream that republicanism is good and trickle down economics works when the evidence suggests that it doesn't. Trump news, Trump news. Do I need a banner or a graphic? It says Trump news. Maybe. Don't think so. Don't know. All right, what do we got? Trial within a trial. Trump's strategy on the verge of imploding. Oh no. Put out a video about that this morning. The ex-president faces two trials that will set the tone for the messy ones ahead. The New York fraud trial and the unofficial trial in the court of public opinion. What are you talking about? Damn it. Damn it, The Guardian. A scene that could have been pulled from a Hollywood courtroom thriller. Donald Trump was called to the witness box last week and accused of threatening the clerk of the court. He did that. We saw him. We know he did that. Stupid Guardian. Stupid internet. Not letting me see the things. All right. Let's see if I can read this story. Banner and trumpets. Trumpets are just slightly off key. Oh, that's not a bad idea. We'll put a banner and off key trumpets. Brilliant. Okay. I'll give that a shot. Trump launches, Trump launches nasty rant at fraud trial judge, crazed in his hatred of me. The former president has repeatedly railed against the case and paid the price for it. Donald Trump has lashed out again. The judge in his civil fraud trial on Truth Social platform on Saturday. Comes after the judge Arthur Engron ruled that from the bench that the former president's oldest daughter, Ivanka Trump, must testify in the trial. That stems from a blockbuster lawsuit targeting her father, adult brothers, and the Trump's business empire. Why would they be upset that the witness would have to testify? Isn't that kind of a thing that witnesses do? I don't know. Why he's surprised by this, I don't have any idea. He just thinks that rules don't apply to him. It's very strange. The former president, who is not obligated to attend the trial, which could last up until the weekend before Christmas, has sat with his attorneys at the defense table for several days of hearings. He was at it again on Saturday with a post on Truth Social where he called the judge a Trump-hating, unhinged judge who ruled me guilty before this witch hunt trial even started. Couldn't care less about the fact that he was overturned. So let's see. Quote from him. I also won on appeal on statute of limitations, but he refuses to accept their decision. I truly believe he is crazy, but certainly not at a minimum crazed in his hatred of me. This case should have never started and now must be dismissed. Financial statements were low, not high. Had a 100% disclaimer clause. Banks were fully paid on time, on schedule, with never even a minor default. There was no victim except me, your favorite president, me. Any other judge in the country would have thrown this case out on day one. He is out of control nut job who fined me $10,000 over a ridiculous gag order so that the publicity for the day would take over from the fact that the racist James and his judge star witness admitted lying to Congress on the stand. Case over. Trump, a well-known, obvious liar, is probably lying a lot. Like he lies on a scale and frequency that nobody else can. He could put out 4 words and have 9 lies in it. It's amazing. So I suspect, I do not know all of the exact details of this. Did he pay banks on time, on schedule fully? Probably not. I suspect that he didn't. He's a grifter. He's a fraudster. He lies and cheats and steals. So I suspect that the banks were not fully paid on time and on schedule. I suspect that that's fake. His lies per minute are on another level. That's correct. He can you say 4 words and it'll have 9 lies in it. Um, do I specifically know whether or not these banks were paid fully on time and on schedule? No. But Trump saying it makes me suspect that they weren't. Just right off the bat. Everything that he says is probably some sort of lie. Anything that he puts into Truth Social is probably a terrible, terrible, terrible lie. Because the people who are in charge of determining what's a lie, what is legal, what isn't legal, is the judges in the legal system, and they keep finding things against him incorrect. He brought 60 trials, 60 court cases about a stolen election in 2020, and all of them got thrown out because he is a liar. Constantly, consistently. Every single time he says a thing, it makes me think that it isn't true. Motherfucker could tell me that the sky is blue and I have to go double check because he lies so often that I would be like, maybe I'm wrong about this. What else we got? We got Mrs. Trump, who was dropped from a lawsuit earlier this year, recently tried to squash a subpoena for her testimony in the case. Nothing that she is no longer a defendant and no longer lives in the state. She formerly lived in Trump Park Avenue. So, yeah, she's a witness. She should be called to the stand to tell us what she saw, what she witnessed. Mm. Judge Engoron has already determined that a trial is not necessary to prove the claims of fraud outlined across the more than 200 pages in Ms. James' complaint filed last year. What does that mean? That he's already knows that it's a thing? We're just determining uh, how much, just determining punishment? What are we talking about here? This week, Mr. Trump. Cohen, yeah, we talked about Cohen. We saw Cohen. Asked by counsel for the Attorney General's office what the number was. Cohen replied, whatever number Mr. Trump told us to. So We just used whatever numbers Mr. Trump told us to use. Not a surprise. He is a grifter. It's what we do. It's what they do. Ha, Freudian slip. It's what we do. Um, Donald Trump speaks like a mob boss. He tells you what he wants without specifically telling you. That's what I was referring to. Okay. More Trump news. Here we go. The big lie is expanding. Majority of Republicans now insist Trump never tried to overturn the election. I mean, he did. We saw him do it. We know he did it. How can he say he never did it? It's amazing. Well, I have never done a live stream before, and I implore you to find any evidence that I ever have. As Trump's legal saga unfolds, his followers are sticking their heads in the sand. It may seem obvious that everyone in the country knows that Donald Trump tried to overturn the elections in 2020 because we all watched him do it live as it was happening. We saw it. His campaign filed more than 60 lawsuits in various states, as was his right, none of which were found to be meritorious. Exactly. None of them. He went to 60 courts with 60 lawsuits, and they all threw his ass out because he is a liar and a grifter. His minions and accomplices in the Republican Party, both in Washington and around the country, actively tried to help him pressure election officials and persuade local officials to sign on as alternate electors, which is illegal, and they are going to trial for it now. I think you'd have to have been in a coma to not know that he aggressively tried to bully Mike Pence, his vice president, into refusing to count the electoral votes on January 6th, obviously. And then the January 2nd phone call. What I want to do is find 11,000. What I want to do is I just want to find 11,780 votes, which is one more than the 11,779 vote margin of defeat we have because we won the state. Start from the end. We won. Move backwards. This is how many votes I want. It's blatant. It's obvious. He cheated. He lied. There was a bunch of fraud that happened during the 2020 election, but it came from Donald Trump and his friends. But now we already know all this. Let's see. What did he say lately? So this is all the past. So it's the past. What's happening now? Well, let's just keep going. Okay. Um, Pursuing audits. Yeah, we did that. That was old. That was 2020. Whether you believe he was justified in doing it or even think it was the patriotic duty to try, there is simply no doubt that Trump tried to overturn the election results. Denying this fact is simply delusional. And yet, as Aaron Blake in the Washington Post reports, it appears that tens of millions of Americans are in deep in denial. There was a poll that asked people whether Trump was involved in an attempt to overturn the results of the 2020 election. In Georgia, he of course was, but to most Republicans, it appears that this never happened. 18% of YouGov poll said Trump was involved, and 59% who said he wasn't. So 59% of the people in this poll said that he wasn't involved in trying to overturn the election, which is factually incorrect, but they like being factually incorrect. Politics is all feelings. They feel like Donald Trump won because they voted for him and they support him and they like him, which means he wins. Arithmetic be damned. Doesn't matter if he has mathematically fewer votes. Doesn't matter. They feel like he won, and they will feel like it was stolen if he isn't announced as the winner. And so they feel like he didn't try to overturn the election. All he did was try to point out all the election fraud that they feel exists. Facts don't say the election fraud exists. Facts don't say that he won the most votes. Facts don't say that Donald Trump is popular within the country. Yet they feel that he is. And because of that feeling, they will do an insurrection. Because of that feeling, they will abandon reality, they will abandon facts, and they will abandon uh, intelligent discourse. They will look at this poll and say, he didn't try to overturn the election. They will say he didn't do it. Politics is all feelings, all day, every day. There's no way to stop it. So let's get our feelings in line with what is real so that we can avoid being in their place. Uh, what this means is that the big lie, which was originally simply Donald Trump's insistence that the election was stolen from him, now includes an equally absurd lie that Trump never tried to overturn it. The big lie gets bigger. Mm-hmm. It will be interesting to see what happens as Trump's legal saga unfolds over the next few months. At this point, it looks as though Trump hand-picked judge in Florida will drag the classified documents case out until after the election. Yep, that's Judge Cannon. She's just going to intentionally, willingly drag it out. And who knows when the trials in Georgia will take place. As things stand now, the federal case in Washington is the one that's most likely to go first, and that's where the evidence of Donald Trump's attempt to overturn the election will be laid out in great detail. Unfortunately, it doesn't appear that it will affect most Republican voters, even if he's found guilty and sentenced to jail, because they are impervious to the truth when it comes to their dear leader. The big lie gets bigger and bigger, and as time goes on, and Republicans seem powerless to resist it. Yeah, they did this poll at the RNC. You're right, Shinsinto. They did the poll at the RNC, and the people at the RNC really don't think that he did that thing. All right. So what am I doing? I am going to check on the puppy dogs real quick. Just take a minute. Uh, please stick around, and we will go over the very scary uh, Project 2025 book. We will continue our book club. Uh, hop into chat. I will talk to you even though through this wireless headset. Hop into chat. Put any links that you'd like to talk about in there. Any chats. Every time you chat, you get 5 points. As you can see, Shincinto right there is gambling with his points. Very fun, very exciting. You can gamble too. You can be like him and gamble all your very important points uh, so that you can have more very important points that are of no value to anyone or anything at the moment. Maybe someday they will be. Maybe, maybe. Um, if you're watching and you're paying attention, please like the stream, become a follower, click on the link to the YouTube page, watch the YouTube videos, because what I like to do is just live stream like this all during the day, and then I chop it up, turn it into videos, and then put those on the YouTube channel. Shinsinto has 3,380 points. That is a lot of points. There is the YouTube link to the YouTube channel with all of the YouTube vids. So what I'll do is I'll take all of these live streams and all these little segments, chop them up, edit them, take out all the uhs and dead air, and then put them up on YouTube. So if you miss a live stream, you can come there and it'll be faster and more condensed. Let's see. So we are going to do the book club. Dun, dun, dun. The name of this book is the Project 2025. It is a plan that Republicans have come up with for the next Republican president. They hope it's Trump. If anybody else wins as a Republican, they will give him this book, and it will cause a lot of death. He writes, Shinsinto, it will cause a lot of death and dismemberment. The plan is for a Republican person to get this info and then read it and follow the instructions. This is a list of instructions for a Republican president, and we're 14 chapters in, I want to say, 13 chapters, something like that. Most of it is terrible and monstrous, and I hate it. But it's important to know what they're doing so that we can, not do that and or prevent them from accomplishing their awful, awful, awful goals. So we continue with the Republican Book Club on Environmental Protection Agency. They do hate this one. The EPA by Mandy M. Gunnasekara. There we go. Mandy M. Gunasekara. And let's learn what fictional things the Republicans think about the EPA. Mission statement: creating a better environment tomorrow with clean air, safe water, healthy soil, and thriving communities. The conservative U.S. Environmental Protection Agency will take a more supportive role towards local and state efforts, building them up so that they may lead a meaningful fashion. This will include the sharing of federal resources and agency expertise. You think so? Creating environmental standards from the ground up is consistent with the concept of cooperative federalism embedded within many of the agency's authorizing statutes and will create earnest relationships among local officials and regulated stakeholders. This in turn will promote a culture of compliance. This is all very, very, very strong corporate speak that means nothing. This is filthy corpo speak that is nothing so far. Give me something. A conservative. There we go. A conservative EPA will track success by measured progress as opposed to the current perpetual process and will convey this progress to the public in clear, concise terms. Ah, you didn't say anything. Okay. Filthy corpo speak. True transparency will be a defining characteristic of a conservative EPA. This will be reflected in all agency work, including the establishment of open source science, to build not only transparency and awareness among the public, but also trust. More worthless corpo speak. Damn it. Mm, corpo speak. Okay, we're going to skip all that. It didn't say anything. Not surprisingly, the EPA under the Biden administration has returned to the same top-down coercive approach that defined the Obama administration. What? Yes, top down. The person at the top of the government tells the people beneath them how to do the government. I don't know why they're upset about this. There has been a reinstitution of unachievable standards designed to aid in the transition. They really hate that word. Motherfucker, if it's in people, they hate it. If it's in the environment, they hate it. They hate the word transition. Okay. Away from politically disfavored industries and technologies and towards the Biden administration preferred alternatives. Yes, you fucking cretins. Politically disfavored industries. That means coal and oil. And they're very upset that the EPA would suggest not using coal and oil anymore. And when this happens, when the EPA says, maybe we shouldn't burn fucking trees and rocks to power the future. Maybe we should do other things. Republicans call it uh, politically disfavored industries and technologies and towards a Biden administration preferred alternatives. They call it preferred alternatives. Hey, can we stop burning trees and rocks to power the flying cars? They they get upset about it because they're paid by the people who dig the trees and rocks out of the ground. This is this approach is most obvious when the Biden administration's assault on the energy sector, as the administration uses its regulatory might to make coal, oil, and natural gas operations very expensive and increasingly inaccessible, while forcing the economy to build out and rely on unreliable renewables. Listen, Mandy. Can I call you Mandy? I hope so. It's your name. Mandy, listen. Listen, Mandy. Mandy, listen. We're not going to power the flying cars by burning wood. We're not. That's a dumb thing to do. The future will not be built on burning rocks and burning dinosaurs. You can't. It doesn't work. You need a better plan. You need a futuristic option. Burning coal is a 15th century uh, technology. Please move forward. Please. Oil is an 18th century uh, technology. It's not going to power the future. It will power the present for a little while longer if we can, and burning all of it might ruin the entire fucking atmosphere, and then we won't be able to live here anymore. You know? This is the worry. This is what I'm saying. This is what the left is trying to explain to you, Mandy. That if you burn all the oil, one, you won't have any, and two, the environment might be so bad that we all die. What kind of future can you have then? But she's paid by the people who dig the oil and dig the coal out of the ground, so she doesn't give a damn about any fact that I have to bring to her. Any idea, any worry that I have is ignored because she's paid to ignore it. Unreliable renewables. This approach has also been applied to pesticides and chemicals as the Biden administration pushes for the greening of agriculture and manufacturing, among other industrial activities. Mandy, if those chemicals are dangerous and causing cancer and killing people, let's not use them. But you don't care. You don't care. If the EPA says don't use this damn chemical on your corn, then by God, you shouldn't use that chemical on your corn. I don't know why the left is the crazy environmentalists when they're literally just being smarter about it. As a consequence of this approach, we see the return of costly job-killing regulations. More regulations. They hate regulations. They really do. That serve to depress the economy and grow the bureaucracy, but do little to address, much less resolve, complex environmental problems. In some instances, these actions even work to undermine environmental efforts, as they push industries overseas to countries whose enforcement of pollution control requirements is seriously deficient, if indeed they have any meaningful requirements at all. That's a capitalism problem, Mandy. If if Monsanto is doing something that is harming America, harming Americans, and the EPA tells them to stop, and instead of stopping, they just move to another fucking country, that's a capitalism problem, not a government problem. Maybe we should do a bit of diplomacy to prevent Monsanto from moving to that other country and doing what they want anyway and ruining the environment over there. But Republicans don't do diplomacy, they do bombing. All right. If indeed they have any meaningful requirements at all. Okay. Meanwhile, agency costs and staffing have increased significantly. The EPA's fiscal year 23 included 28% increase of funds, uh, the highest funding ever in EPA history. Well, say, I want to die gasping for air. Fuck me, right? Yeah. You don't want to die that way. Get wrecked, idiot. And don't you know that you're not gasping for air, Shinseto, is bad for business? It helps Exxon's bottom line if you are dying gasping for air. So that's what we will do. Compared to the Obama administration, there's one key difference in the Biden administration's approach. In a concerted effort to diminish congressional oversight, the position of EPA administrator has been overshadowed by the creation of multiple climate czars. Bum, bum, bum! Lightning, thunder, climate czars at the Biden White House. In effect, current EPA Administrator Michael Regan, who has a reputation as a well-meaning, generally capable former state official, has been left out of the political loop, serving mostly as a pleasant distraction from the EPA's expansive, costly, and economy-destroying agenda. Maybe because they can't get a damn thing done with fucking Republicans standing in the way. It wouldn't surprise me if that's why they have to do the climate czars. Really, hey, if we take this thing to Congress, Congress is filled with dipshits who do not comprehend science, who do not comprehend reality, who do not comprehend the time dimension, and think that the climate can't change because the Bible didn't tell us it would. Maybe you fucking go around those people. Maybe you create a bunch of climate czars who can just get things done without going through the stupids in Congress. A co-opted mission. The EPA has been a breeding ground for expansion of federal government influence and control across the economy. Embedded activists have sought to evade legal restraints in a pursuit of global climate-themed agenda, aiming to achieve that agenda by implementing costly policies that otherwise have failed to gain the requisite political traction in Congress. Many EPA actions in liberal administrations have simply ignored the will of Congress, aligning instead with the goals and wants of politically connected activists. Yes, Mandy. Yes. If Congress, you know who's in Congress? Matt Gaetz and Maytag. We shouldn't listen to Congress anymore. If Republicans hire Marjorie Taylor Greene, let me put it on the main screen here, Cam here, because I'm ranting. If if Republicans hire Marjorie Taylor Greene to be a member of the Congress, I don't want to listen to Congress anymore. I don't. She's an idiot. She doesn't know what is real. She doesn't know where uh, the EPA ought to be putting its funding. She doesn't comprehend the idea of global climate change. She doesn't have any idea what those are. She's a buffoon. She is an idiot. And if you have to go around Congress because Congress is filled with idiots, that's what they'll do. That's what ought to happen. I'm not happy about it. I don't want them to go around Congress. But guess what? Republicans have filled it with dipshits. Very ranting today. Very ranty today. Let's see. Historical roles and purposes. For many decades, rapid industrial activity with an unorganized approach to environmental standards significantly degraded the country's environment. Particle pollution from the form of thick fog like haze that has at times laced with harmful metals was a frequent occurrence across the country. More than 40% of the communities failed to meet basic water quality standards, and in 1969, the Cuyahoga River caught fire after sparks from a passing train ignited debris in the water, which was filled with heavy industrial waste. Right, we should do something about that. And they created the EPA. So in the future, this is what the Republicans would like to do with the EPA. Back to basics, the EPA structure and mission should be greatly circumscribed to reflect the principles of cooperation, federalism, and limited government. This will require significant restructuring and streamlining of the agency to reflect the following. State leadership, there we go. Take that big federal thing that's telling Republicans what to do and break it into 50 little departments. EPA should build earnest relationships with state and local officials to assume a more supportive role by sharing resources and expertise, recognizing the primary role in making choices about the environment belongs to the people who live in it. Yeah, and more Republican control. If you break things down to the state level, Republicans have more control of it. Accountable progress. Regulatory efforts should focus on addressing tangible environmental problems with practical, cost-beneficial, affordable solutions to clean up the air, water, and soil, and the results should be measured and tracked, simple metrics that are available to the public. They do that now. Streamline the process. Duplicative or wasteful, superfluous programs, blah, blah, blah. Healthy, thriving communities, blah, blah. Yeah, this is more filthy corpo speak. This isn't anything. Just filthy corpo speak. And then we get down to the thing. Okay, here's an executive order. That's a pretty big thing. Day 1 executive order. To initiate the review of the reorganization, a Day 1 executive order should be drafted for the incoming president with explicit language requiring reconsideration of the agency's structure with reference to fulfilling its mission to better create a environmental to create a better environment tomorrow with clean air, safe water, healthy soil, and thriving communities. The order should set up a pause and review teams to assess the following: major rules and guidelines, pending petitions, grants, stop all grants to advocacy groups, and review which potential federal investments will lead to tangible environmental improvements. They're not just giving them out for fun, lady. Mandy, the EPA is giving out grants now, and not just for fun. They have already determined which ones will lead to environmental improvements. Employee review. Determine the opportunity to downsize by terminating the newest hires and low value programs and identify relocation opportunities for senior executives. Yeah, cut the staff way down so that they can, like Jacinto said, ignore everything for profit. Personnel. So this goes into each specific one of these groups on what they ought to do with it. So this is the boring, crunchy bits that they want a specific EPA head to go down. Uh, the Office of General Counsel. The OGC. That's a very. This is the deep state right here. This is it. So anybody who's in the Office of General Counsel right now, they're part of the EPA's policy-making officials. They're deep state, and the Republicans hate the deep state because it doesn't agree with them. They want a Republican deep state that does agree with them. And this is the plan. This is this entire book, 920 pages of here's the words of the deep state. Here's the deep state. Here it is. We've modeled out, we've found every single bit of the deep state. And it's too based on reality and leftism and things that are real. We don't like that. So we need it to be filled with Republican fantasies. So they will replace all of those intelligent people who are basing their stuff on facts with people who are basing their entire worldview on Republican fantasy. These are the specific ones. I think there's a conclusion. Okay, let's read the conclusion. A more conservative EPA that aligns with the policies outlined in this chapter will lead to a better environmental future without unintended consequences. How the fuck does that make any sense? It will prevent unnecessary expenditures by the regulated community, allowing for investment in economic development and job creation, which are keys to thriving communities. Cutting EPA size and scope will deliver savings to the American taxpayer. Improved transparency will serve as an important check to ensure that the agency's mission is not distorted or co-opted for political gain. Importantly, a conservative EPA will deliver tangible environmental improvements to the American people in the form of cleaner air, cleaner water, and healthy soils. Except that it won't. Filthy corpo speak, that means nothing. They're going to slash the jobs. They're going to cut the power. They're going to remove the EPA's power authority funding personnel. And then apparently that makes cleaner air and water. I don't believe you, Mandy. I do not think you are a serious person. I think you are filled to the brim with Republican Kool-Aid. Well, that was a rant, wasn't it? What's next week? What's next time on the Republican Book Club? Let's look to the future. What is after EPA? It is the Department of Health and Human Services. Well, okay. So next time we'll do the Department of Health and Human Services. They probably want to abandon it and destroy it and get rid of it because that is how Republicans operate. Get rid of the government and that'll make the government better. Not entirely sure how that works, especially with the environment. The environment needs help. We need to do a better job there. The country still has lead in their water. We should have the EPA working on that. Yes, it's difficult. Yes, it's painful. Yes, it's expensive to dig those pipes up and put in new pipes that aren't going to fill your children with lead. But that's exactly what a government should be doing. That is what a government ought to be doing. That's one of the things that they are for. You know, um, they're not. The government isn't. I don't want the government spending their time doing um, congressional hearings about baseball or uh, social media or something like that. I don't want Mark Zuckerberg to go to Congress and have to explain to a bunch of geriatric motherfuckers why they are hated online. That's a waste of their time. What they could be doing, planning, paying for, and fixing the pipes that are filled with lead. That's a good thing for the government to do. Um, yeah, I recognize that the government always will look out, chase after the crimes of their president's children. I don't want them to waste time on that, but I know that they will, because it is a very feelings-based thing. Chasing around Hunter Biden's crimes will always be a political situation. Uh, but maybe if they were smart, they could do something good, like replacing all the pipes with not unleaded pipes. Unleaded pipes. I know. What, man? If I ever run for office, that'll be my bumper sticker. Unleaded pipes. 2 words. That's a bumper sticker, baby. Unleaded pipes. That's my. You wanna you wanna know my platform? Unleaded pipes. That chatter that was here earlier asking for my political stances. Unleaded pipes, and the government ought to pay for it. And we can tax the rich to get it. Yeah, I think that's a great idea. So, yeah, late stream today. Heard the censure motion against Maytag? No, I hadn't heard about a censure motion against Maytag. Let me type that into the Google machine real quick. Closed all my windows. Let's see. What do we got? We got screen here. Then we go to window capture. Right there. Let's see our buddy Maytag. Oh, wrong button. House Democrats move to force vote on censuring Marjorie Taylor Greene. Couldn't have happened to a nicer person. Rebecca Ballant made a move to force a vote on her resolution to censure Maytag over a firebrand Georgia Congresswoman's many controversial comments in the past, as a response to Greene's move to force a vote to censure Rashida Tlaib. Of course she would. Ballant's move on Thursday on the privilege resolution gives the House 2 days to consider the measure on the House floor. The chamber returns Wednesday. Resolution, first introduced in July, is a laundry list of around 40 points of grievances against Greene, many of which list her specific comments and the dates on which she said them, with Greene showing images of Hunter Biden in the House, hearing being the most recent. After making the move to the House floor on Thursday, an impassioned ballot rallied against newly minted Speaker Mike Johnson and Greene, who early in the day also brought up privileged motion to force a vote on censuring Tlaib over accusations of anti-Semitic activity and sympathizing with terrorist organizations. I know. Ugh. The fact that on the very first day of his leadership, he lets Marjorie Taylor Greene bring to the floor a resolution that is riddled with lies and falsehoods. On my colleague, I won't let it stand. Okay, yeah. So our new guy, Johnson, brand new guy, the first thing he does is let Maytag have the floor. That's a bad idea. She's a crazy person who shouldn't be listened to or taken seriously in any way, shape, or form. This woman, Marjorie Taylor Greene, it seems to be her only purpose is to sick Americans after other Americans, to fend more hatred, to fan more dissension and fear mongering. We have got to have a bottom here. Yeah, I don't think either one. I don't think censure does anything. Either on if it goes to either one of them, I don't think it's a big deal. Uh, it's just more drama llama stuff from Congress because they love their drama llamas, you know. So uh, the war happens. People who complain about the Israeli side are considered supporting the terrorists. How could you support them terrorists? And you're like, dude, I don't support the terrorists. Hamas did a 9/11, but they did a 9/11 because they're under apartheid from the Israelis, and the Israelis are doing an apartheid, and they did an ethnic cleansing back in the 40s, and we would like them to stop that too. Hey Israel, stop the apartheid. Hey Israel, stop the ethnic cleansing. Hey Hamas, also you stop the 9/11s. you know? But that is too complicated for a Republican brain. That is entirely too complicated for a Republican brain. They can't even comprehend that idea that there isn't a black and white good and bad guy. They can't wrap their head around that thought. There has to be a good guy. There has to be a bad guy. There has to be a right. There has to be a wrong. There has to be a left. There has to be a right. There has to be a red. There has to be a blue. Because they are weak-minded. Both sides can be bad and wrong. Both sides can be fueled by bad ideas. Both sides are fueled by a religion that I think is dumb on both sides. And there's my emo Waldo emote. You know, both sides can be bad and wrong. But if you say both sides are bad and wrong, Maytag hears only that you disrespected the side that she supports, even though she wouldn't actually support it if she like met any of them. I suspect. Um, I don't think she has a whole lot of respect for Middle Eastern Jews. I don't think she does. I suspect that she doesn't have any respect for them at all. And if they were in America trying to cross a border to get into America to protect themselves, she would shoot them down. She would shoot them and stop them and build a wall to keep them out. Uh, just my guess, anyway, about a completely hypothetical situation that if there were Israeli people trying to cross our southern border to get into America, she would build a wall to keep them out. Just my guess, anyway. Um, so now I'm rambling. I'm at the end of the stream. I am done and over with for now and surrounded by flies because I left the door open for the doggies. So, um, what is today? Today is Saturday. I will be back on Monday night for a quick recap of the politic headlines and then a game stream. Um, I know. Let me see. What game did I buy? I bought a game on Steam the other day because it's Halloween and it's spoopy season. So I bought a game called Slay the Princess. It's so good, and it is insane, and it is very weird, and it is very dark, and it is very scary. And I totally slayed the princess a few times. Um, so, other than that, my stream is over for today. Thank you for coming in. I appreciate anybody who came in. And Shinsinto, I thank you for all the fun chats and keeping me uh, focused and not focused and just distracting me and keeping me online or not. I appreciate it. I will be back on Monday for another stream. And if should I play other games? But I think Vampire Survivor will continue to be played on Monday. Very fun. And I've got a whopping 46 subscribers on YouTube. Like, how did this happen? Is that allowed? I don't think I'm allowed that legally allowed to have that many subscribers on YouTube. Let me double check the number real quick. Yeah, it's at 46. Not 46,000, just 46. Excitement. To the moon. All right. I appreciate it. Thanks. Everybody have a good day. Goodbye.